Hey Transformers fans, how's it going? So after a little hiatus, more than a little hiatus, I guess, kind of a long one since my last video, I'm finally back at you with some new content. And today I'm going to do something a little different, but some kind of a video that I've wanted to do for a while now, ever since they started sort of announcing all of the different Studio Series Optimus Primes that are going to be coming out, and that we've already started to see. But Voyager-Class Optimus Primes have always kind of been one of my favorite figures to collect because they're the right, combination of size and affordability, where you can get, more than one of them of different styles and different designs, and have a bunch of, different Optimuses as he's looked in various movies and things like that, without having to spend thousands of dollars on obviously all of the third-party stuff. I just find Voyagers are a really fun toy to collect. And that kind of begged the question when I started looking at the Voyagers that I've got and the Voyagers that are coming out is, how do they shape up against each other, especially the movie class or movie line Optimus Primes, because obviously there's been a lot of them. I've got, 5 showing here, and that's not even all of them. Obviously there's, going to be 3 different versions of this Optimus from the Studio Series line alone, plus the Voyager class from the Bumblebee movie, which I don't have, and I didn't really want to include in this because I really kind of wanted to focus on the original style of Optimus from sort of the first 5 movies, I guess, because I do have the Last Night guy in here anyway. But I mean, it's when you stack them all up against each other, I mean, they each have their pros and their cons. Of what you look for in a movie Optimus. And I'm kind of going to go through those in terms of like what I think and how I feel, sort of the best Optimus Prime would be, depending on what it is you're looking for and how they scale against some of the other figures. So the first one that I want to show off, obviously, is sort of the newest one, which has just recently hit shelves, and this is Studio Series number, I believe it's 32. This is his movie 1 appearance, according to the box, anyway. Optimus Prime Studio Series Voyager class. And this is a improved version, sort of universally as far as all of the reviewers that I've seen, at least, over the first edition, which had kind of a wonky looking chest there with a big gap, didn't have the right ab section, and there were a few other issues as well. The colors on this guy are brighter than the original release. The original Studio Series Optimus Prime was very muted and had darker colors. But this one I really kind of liked. I mean, I like the general appearance and proportions and the look of it, so I decided to pick this guy up. That being said, it's not without its flaws, but in terms of the general look, I think it does a really good job. The chest looks good with the windows, the ab section there, which is accurate. The arms are well proportioned, the legs are well proportioned, the feet look good, and that's one of the problems with Optimus Primes is his feet are usually a tricky thing to get. I'm going to go through that as I go through some of the other figures. But yeah, I mean, overall, the new Studio Series is a pretty solid Voyager class figure. As we kind of do a workaround or a look around here, you can see things generally go where they should. He's got the arm, shoulder guards there, smokestacks at the back, his wheels on his hips there, and one on the feet. Gas tanks on the back, kind of angled as they should be. He does have a bit of a gap there, which is fairly obvious. But one thing I did discover, actually, and I want to kind of highlight it, is he does come with his sort of gas tank, transforming gas tank blaster. And although it's designed technically, you can see there's kind of slots there, and there's a peg on the side there. It is designed technically to sort of slot on the back for storage. I discovered that you can actually fit this really easily just in there, and you can see it fills in the hole. It's not really visible from anywhere else, and it doesn't sort of stick off of the back, so that's a really great place to store his blaster if you happen to pick this figure up. Just tuck it in there, and then it's fairly secure. Like, when you get it in there, just give it a little push to make sure that it's in there, and it's not going to fall out, so it's pretty solid. I don't think that's intentional at all, but it works, and so that's kind of where I keep his gun when he's not holding it. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's a solid Optimus Prime. It's a great looking Optimus Prime Voyager class figure. If you don't have any other Voyager class figures and you want a movie Prime, so far this is the one that I would recommend you getting from the Studio Series line. Unless of course you're you know, obviously taken with the Bumblebee aesthetic, and then you'd go obviously get that one. But very, very different look and feel. So that's that guy. Now next up, I want to show sort of this version of Optimus Prime, which is the Last Night Voyager class, which was hailed by collectors when it came out, because it's like finally we get a really good looking you know, night style Optimus Prime that didn't have all of the issues that the leader class from Age of Extinction had, and that was a pretty rough figure. But this really does a much better job of just looking proportionally well. And I mean, yeah, he's got big leg kibble and he's got a big backpack, but overall the figure is really nice. It's fun to transform, it looks great. And obviously you can see that I have customized this guy quite a bit. He's got a full, you know, sort of head to toe paint job on it. And I also put the Toy Hacks Repro label set on this guy because it just really added the extra detail that made this figure look really great. The flame details obviously on the chest, on the arms, all the gold details, all that stuff is all the Toy Hacks Repro label set. So if you have this figure and you don't have that set, I highly recommend you pick it up, because it's an amazing set that really does make this figure look fantastic. Even if you don't spend the time painting it, this sticker set alone makes it look awesome. But proportionally, he looks good. You know, everything scales well. You know, he's got the right weapons. He's got storage for his sword in his back. He's got the right shield, you know, and that's the one thing that I like about Optimus Prime figures, or really any Transformers figures. Do they come with the weapons that they had in the movies? And this guy, we can say, yes, yes, he does. Because sometimes they throw on extra stuff, and it just doesn't make sense. So, I mean, this is a really solid entry into the Optimus Prime Voyager class line. If you like the night style aesthetic, then this is the one that you're going to want to get. As you can see, height-wise, though, let's just do a quick height comparison. The Last Night version is taller. You know, the new Voyager class Optimus Primes are slightly smaller than the ones from previous lines. And that's kind of an across-the-board thing with Studio Series stuff. You'll see some of the figures are smaller, but then we've also seen some really big Voyagers, and we'll show that off when we get to some of the other comparisons. But he is, you know, a little bit shorter than I would. This guy here is a little bit shorter than I would like him to be. I think he should just be a smidge taller. But overall, it's still a pretty good looking Optimus Prime if you like the night style aesthetic. Next up, let's talk about this guy, Evasion Mode Optimus Prime. Now, when this guy came out in the Last Night, again, this is sort of one of the ones that the fans went nuts for, because the original deco for this guy, if you'll remember, this particular look is from the Barn Breakout set or Escape set, something that was a Toys R Us exclusive a couple years ago. It came with two other figures, which I just wasn't really interested in. This is the Prime, Evasion Mode Prime that I wanted, because he had the deco and the look that I liked. You know, his sort of dull gray, he's got the rusty kind of look. And this is the one that I wanted in that style of figure. And yeah, proportionally, again, he looks really good. You know, the arms are sized properly, the legs are sized properly. You know, he's got a great head sculpt. And that's one of the things that all of these Optimus Prime shares. They all have really good looking heads. You know, they do a really good job on molding Optimus' head. I think they've kind of got it down by now. But yeah, overall looks great. This guy does not have the faceplate, as you can see. That's one of the things that the first two I showed do have. They do have the faceplate. This guy does not. And he comes with this shotgun blaster, which, you know, a lot of people were like, oh, that's really cool, because that's supposed to be the shotgun that he uses, or that he steals from Megatron at the end of Age of Extinction. One thing that I don't understand about why Hasbro does certain things the way that they do is they take this blaster and they don't put the 5mm peg back on the actual handle, where in the movie he would have held it. They put an extra handle on the front, and it just looks like, when he's holding it, I don't know, it just looks silly. They should have had just this as a 5mm peg with maybe like a thing on the top so that the previous Megatron could hold it. I know that's why they did it. They've got this tab here so that the Voyager-Class Megatron from Dark of the Moon can hold it, but it seemed like a pretty it would have been nice if they just had that as the 5mm peg and be done with it. But in terms of, you know, the weapons that he comes with, this guy comes with a pretty cool weapon. It's not too bad. It's not accurate to the movie, or to the gun that he had in Age of Extinction, which is like that tri-barrel blaster, but it's still pretty decent. But overall, yeah, this is a nice looking Optimus Prime. These pieces up here are a little taller, I think, than probably they could be, but he's got the smokestacks behind the head. And overall, you know, he's very well designed in terms of his robot mode. You know, the chest looks really good. You know, he's got the flat grill, you know, from the snub-nosed truck that he turns into, which was a nice homage to the G1 design. Overall, he's a pretty nice entry into the Voyager line. But again, fits a very specific kind of aesthetic. I mean, if you were only going to get one Optimus Prime to represent sort of the movie line, I wouldn't necessarily say this would be the one, because obviously he's only in this mode for a very specific scene and for a very short period of time in the movies. You know, it's only one movie that he's in this mode. So if you're collecting more than one Optimus Prime, then I'd say, yeah, go for it, because it's a really great figure and a fun mold. But by no means would I say it's the definitive movie Voyager-Class Optimus Prime. It's sort of a nice secondary one to have. That would be my opinion. Okay, now we're getting to a different, it's sort of a different line or different style of Optimus Prime. Hang on a sec, I gotta close my blinds here, getting a little light where I shouldn't be getting light. Oh, sorry, I got those lights coming in here from my window. I can't do anything about that right now. Anyway, so let's keep going. So I'm going to show these two side by side because they're really the same mold. But this is the Hunt for the Decepticon / Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime mold, also known as the Battle Blades Optimus Prime. And for a long time, this was sort of accepted as the best Voyager-Class Optimus Prime that you could get. And the reason being is because they basically take all of the transformation, detail, and operation and scale, and you know, all of the really good look of the Leader Class toy, which is still an amazing Optimus Prime toy, scaled it down and made it a Voyager size. So, I mean, it's an impressive feat of engineering to take something that size and scale it down and have it pull off this well. Now, in terms of my Optimus Prime collection, the ones that I grab and I fiddle with, and you know, I like to hold and you know, pose and all that kind of stuff, this is the one that I pick up the most. I just find that I really like that, you know, movie 1, 2, 3 look and aesthetic that these guys have. I like the fact that he's got you know, the really nice movie accurate chest. He's got these visors above his chest that you can angle up, which none of the other ones have that. It's a nice detail that I think is really important. He's got the smokestacks in behind. He's got the shoulder pieces up here. He's got the gas tanks or the air filters on the shoulders. You know, he's got the wheels on the hips. He's got the wheels on the feet. He's got the gas tanks in the back. And I mean, yeah, this guy's backpack is arguably one of the biggest and not necessarily one of the best, but you know, it is what it is. But overall, I mean, this is the one that I pick up and play with the most. And as you can see, I've got the one with the battle blades, which is actually what they called the, this is the Revenge Optimus Prime, which was from the movie Advanced line, which they came out just before they started doing like studio series stuff, or maybe about a year before they started doing studio series stuff, which is supposed to be like premium decos of previous figures. And I was really happy that they re-released this guy because I wanted to get him. He's got he's got chrome on these. He's got chrome on his gas tanks. You know, he's got better paint jobs. The paint on him on the rims, or not the rims, but on the wheel wells. And overall, it's got that sort of goldy yellow fade that the Leader Class had. It's got the silver wheels. It's got all of the nice sort of things that that I would have added to him, which I did to this guy when I painted him up because he came pretty bland. And this is the one that has the battle hooks, which are the flip-out battle hooks. This was actually part of the Dark of the Moon re-release of it, where he's got like the sparkles and the stars and stuff on him. There used to be like some images of the moon on his chest, which I took off just with some paint with some rubbing alcohol, took it all off because I wanted to sort of customize this guy and make him look the way I wanted to. So that's sort of why he looks the way he does, because he's been heavily repainted. But overall, I still think that this mold is my favorite Voyager-Class Optimus Prime mold. Now, that being said, it does have its flaws. I don't like the feet on these nearly as much as I like the feet on like these ones. You know, obviously they don't look movie accurate. This one's feet, this guy's feet are not movie accurate. They're too skinny. They look kind of goofy. But where this guy's feet look really good, he has the problem in alt mode, and I'll show that off when I transform them all. He has the problem in alt mode that they just fold him up and put them on the back of his trailer. Or sort of like his trailer hitch area, which drives me nuts. I really wish they would find a better way to do feet that look like this, but don't just sit on the back of the truck when he's in alt mode. So I give props to this guy for having feet that, you know, are hidden in alt mode and you don't see them. But I would have liked to have seen more of that style, which I know that they can pull off in the leader because they have more plastic, but that's one of my only failings with this Voyager class, sort of the Battle Blades Optimus Prime. The other thing that, as much as I like the fact, I love the fact that he comes with his Battle Blades, I really think that this is a weapon that movie Optimus Prime needs to have, simply because he uses them so in such iconic scenes in the movie, like when he takes out Bone Crusher and when he's doing the forest battle in Revenge of the Fallen. It's like, this is the weapon. I mean, as much as I like the blaster, I think I like the Battle Blades more. I would rather him have the Battle Blades more. I just wish that they were like a pull on, pull off, plug in kind of accessory rather than always attached with these hinges. And I know you can pop them off, but then you've got this post sticking there, and it's just, I just leave them on and I kind of leave them out. But that's another sort of failing that I think I wish that they had fixed with this figure, is had easily removable Battle Blade accessories that you could take on and off. But yeah, so in terms of how they scale with this guy, as you can see again, I'm just going to move these guys out of the way so you can see the scale a little bit better against the wall. So as you can see, the older version is taller than the newer Studio Series, which is, you know, it's not drastically so, but it's definitely taller. And you can see just how different the smokestacks are. You know, I mean, these ones stick out really, really high. These ones are a little bit more subdued, which I think this is more accurate to movie mode or movie accuracy. But in alt mode, you'll see that these ones, obviously, because they're longer, these ones look a lot better in alt mode than these ones do. And that's sort of just one of the give and take kind of things that you have to do with these figures, is you can't have everything. So, but yeah. Now, at the end of the day, if I was to have one single movie style Optimus Prime Voyager class on my shelf, which one would I go with? I gotta go with this guy, the Revenge version, movie advanced line, because he's got, in my opinion, he's got the better chest, he's got the angled flaps above his chest, he's got the battle blades, he's got the premium deco, you know, he's got both the battle blades, and he comes with the detachable gas tanks, which can be a blaster. You know, he's just got the balance, the best balance of everything that I think makes him look the best when you have him on your shelf. And not just that, I think he looks better when you scale him, or when you see him standing next to some of the other figures or some of the other characters in the line. And I'm going to do that right now. So here's one that I think kind of sets the tone more than anything else, is next to the newest Studio Series Megatron from, this is the Revenge of the Fallen look, obviously, but this scale to me works really, really, really well. I know that this guy here, the new Studio Series Optimus Prime, is supposed to be the official scale, but to me, he just looks just a smidge too small. I know the Megatron should be bigger, and he is. Like, when you look at these two guys, yeah, Megatron's bigger. But to me, he's like, Prime is just a little too small in this instance. So with these guys standing side by side, I like this better. But that's just my opinion. Your mileage may vary. So that's how he looks next to Revenge of the Fallen Megatron. And I also wanted to show off how he scales next to Studio Series Bumblebee from the Bumblebee movie. And I really like this figure. I don't have the other Camaro versions of the Studio Series line, but I might get the rusty one when he comes out because I know that they fixed a lot of the quality control issues with his backpack and stuff. But I mean, that scale looks really, really good. You know, it really does. And I mean, granted, that looks okay too. You know, I mean, he's as big as he really should be, you know, compared to Bumblebee. But just this Optimus Prime is it's more imposing. I just think it's better overall looking. So that's kind of where I wanted to end the sort of robot mode conversation on these guys. You know, as much as I really dig the new Studio Series line, and I like the fact that this one is going to be able to combine with the Jetfire, and I like the fact that they're giving you options in terms of, do you want, you know, the one with the battle blades? Do you want the one with the blaster? Do you want the one that, you know, combines with Jetfire? Do you want the one that is going to come out and has the armory and the jetpack and all of that stuff? From the Dark of the Moon version that's going to come out, which looks really good. So, I mean, say what you will about Hasbro, but they're definitely giving us more than our share of Optimus Prime figures to choose from. And, you know, really no matter what collectors want in terms of an Optimus Prime Voyager class, you're pretty much going to be able to find it. So, you know, with that said, I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to transform them all, and we'll take a quick look at their alt modes before we call it quits. So, okay, here we are with alt modes finally transformed, and boy, I gotta admit, you know, some of these are a lot more fun than I remember them, and some of them are a lot less fun than I remember them. Some of the transformation steps on these guys can be a little bit of a pain in the ass. But here we are, and they look really, really good. I mean, Optimus's alt modes have always looked awesome and impressive, no matter kind of which way you look at it. But you'll notice that I only did 4 out of the 5 because I didn't bother transforming this guy because he's the same mode as that guy, and this guy's alt mode doesn't look as good as this guy because of the paint job, so I didn't bother with this guy. But it's the same. Anyway. So, and one of the other things that I wanted to call it that I forgot to mention earlier is that of all of these Optimus Prime figures, the Battle Blades version or the Battle Hooks version, Voyager class, whichever one you end up getting, is the only one out of all of them that actually comes with a little teeny tiny matrix of leadership. So that's another kind of selling feature for the older style Voyager class Optimus, is that he comes with this, which is a nice little accessory to have. So I forgot to mention that. Anyway, getting back to the alt modes. Now here you can see really sort of the differences between all of the different Optimuses that we've seen. You know, this starting with the Evasion mode. You know, he's got the classic snub-nosed truck, you know, cab over design, which is synonymous with Optimus from G1 days, of course. But like I said about this guy in robot mode, if you're only going to get one Optimus Prime Voyager class for your shelf, I don't think that this is the one that you really are going to want, simply because it's such a specific version from a specific scene from a specific movie that it doesn't really reflect him through the whole series. But that said, it's a really fun truck mode. I like its transformation is pretty good. It's not the worst of the bunch. But one of the things that I really don't like is 2 things. Number one, the back of the cab on several of these, or not several of these, but on this one in particular, has this open gap where you can see parts of the, you know, you can see the head in there, and it's just the back of the cab on this one is really not very finished, and I don't really dig that very much, but looking from the front, it looks great. Also, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, this particular Optimus, you know, suffers from the feet on the back of the cab, or on the back of the trailer hitch issue, where they just fold them up and there they are. You know, there's no getting around it. His feet are just kind of folded up there, which I just don't like that. I think that there's better ways, probably better ways, but, you know, I'm not an engineer, not a toy engineer, so I don't know, but I know that they have hidden them better in other toys in the past. I don't understand why they can't do it with these Optimuses, but overall, I mean, that's a fun Optimus alt mode. I like that. Getting to the Studio Series, you can really kind of see the visible feet issue, which I talked about on this guy, and that's one of my biggest turnoffs on this truck mode. I mean, everything else looks pretty good. You know, it's just some tabbing issues aside. It's a really nice looking truck. I don't necessarily like there's this big gap here. The smokestacks are too short in alt mode. I wish they had a way to like kind of pull them out a little bit, make them taller. But really, the big thing that sort of kills this alt mode for me is the feet and the tabbing issues on some of these things that just won't stay. You squeeze it the wrong way and it pops apart. But this just looks terrible to me. I don't like that. And the other thing that I don't like, and this is, I mean, it's kind of an aside, but this is obviously the Optimus that's designed to combine with the Jetfire, the Leader Class Jetfire from Studio Series line. And if you look at the combined mode of these, they just take the feet and fold them right up on top of his shins. So, you know, you can split them apart here, and that's kind of, those are the legs that you see on Jetfire. So his feet aren't hidden; they just fold them up on the front of his legs, and they're totally visible when he's combined with Jetfire. I would have really liked if they had a way to fold them around the back, or heck, even if you could just pop them off so that they're somewhere else. But it just, you see it in alt mode, and you just see his feet sitting on the front of his legs there. It just looks ridiculous. So, but that's my kind of pet peeve on that. Anyway, but overall, I mean, it's a solid truck mode. I just think it's like, you know, from robot mode as well, I think it's just a little too small. And I'll show that with some comparison modes, but I mean, you can sort of see next to, this is the Battle Blades version here, the Voyager class from Revenge of the Fallen, and it's noticeably smaller. I mean, not just like you can see side by side, like there, it's smaller in every measure. It's shorter. You know, it's shorter. It's not as long. The nose is smaller. Everything about this is a smaller version of this, and it's very apparent when you see it in alt mode. So again, you know, at the end of the day, this is my preferred Optimus for accuracy in both modes. And you'll also see that he doesn't have visible legs because granted, they don't look as good in robot mode because they just form the front of the truck there, but it makes for a much cleaner looking truck mode. I mean, when it comes to Voyager Optimus Primes, this truck mode looks the best. It just does, in my opinion. It's got the nice tall smokestacks. You know, it's got the extra finish. Granted, this is, again, this is the Revenge movie advanced version that was kind of exclusive to Asia release. But, you know, you can find them on eBay. You can find them on a couple of other retailers. And, you know, if you really like this version and you want the Voyager scale, this is the best one to get, in my opinion. Chrome gas tanks, chrome visors, you know, everything looks nice and clean. You don't see any robot mode bits in alt mode at all. So I think that's the sort of the gold medal in terms of Optimus Voyager class figures. And then of course we've got the Last Night version, heavily stickered up with repro labels, Toy Hacks repro labels, which makes this thing look even better. You know, all the chrome, the accent stickers, the window stickers, you know, it's got chrome on the wheels, it's got chrome on everywhere, it cleans up the trailer hitch section with some cool details, license plate on the back, tail lights, everything. I mean, you got to get that sticker set if you've got this figure. It's just awesome. And scale-wise, I mean, that looks a lot more like, yeah, you can see how this would scale up to this, you know, a lot better than when you put these two together. You're like, wow, that's dramatically the dramatic size difference between the two. I just think these two look better together. So yeah. Anyway, that's kind of the comparisons of all of the Optimuses together in alt modes. But I want to show one other thing. So here's one of the things. So I'm going to show next to Studio Series Jazz and Studio Series Ironhide. And one of the things that I never really kind of understood about Ironhide was why they made Ironhide in his alt mode so big. I mean, it's a pickup truck, right? You think like, there's no pickup trucks that are the same size as semi-tractor trailers, but the realization of the type of pickup truck that this guy is, the GMC Top Kick, I mean, these things were massive. If you see pictures of these things, or you've ever seen one in real life, you know how big they are. So that makes sense when you see those two together. Yeah, I mean, it was a huge truck. And that, with Jazz, you can sort of see, like, those three together. I don't have Bumblebee transformed right now, but you can kind of get an idea. I mean, those three together look absolutely fantastic. You put this guy in the mix, and it just doesn't have the presence. It doesn't have the oomph, you know, that this guy does. So I mean, as much as I like fiddling with this guy, I like playing with him. I think it's a fun Optimus. If you don't have any other Voyager-class Optimus options, I think it's a good choice. I mean, it is what it is. But if you're looking for the one that you want to have the best Optimus Voyager class, then I still say you got to go with this guy. Again, not without its faults. I mean, yeah, the blades are a bit of a pain in the butt when they just kind of sit on the arms there, and the feet aren't great. But if you can get past both of those things, and also the backpack, you know, this guy does have a bit of a backpack when you're transformed, but I mean, so does this guy. Overall, I think this is the best Voyager class movie Optimus that's out there, and that's why you know, he's kind of going to be, in terms of my studio series Autobots, they're gonna be displayed with this guy, not necessarily with this guy. I might get Jetfire just to have the combined mode. Maybe I can figure out a way to pop the feet off so that it doesn't look quite so bad. But I mean, overall, I got to give the medal to this guy over the new Studio Series one. I just think it's a little too small, and they could have done more with some of the finer details on it compared to how much they've nailed. Like, they nailed Ironhide and Jazz and all of the, like, a lot of the other figures from the Studio Series line. I really think that Optimus is sort of the one that is lacking. So, you know, that's just kind of my 2 cents on all of the different Voyager Optimus Primes. You know, your mileage may vary. You may agree with me. You may disagree with me. You may think that I'm totally crazy. I don't know, but that's just kind of how I see it. I like all of them, really. I mean, I've got them in my collection. I wouldn't have them if I didn't like them, but it's just so interesting to see how many different choices we have and how they stack up against each other. So if you're in search for an Optimus Voyager class, hopefully maybe this gave you some clarity on what you might want to look for, and the pros and cons of the different ones. Yeah, I mean, overall, you can't go wrong with a Voyager-class Optimus Prime. They're great toys. They're a lot of fun, and they look awesome. So anyway, I hope you kind of liked my Optimus Prime Voyager-class movie toy showdown here. You know, it's been a lot of fun kind of putting it together and just looking at these toys through a different light. So, and if you've got any comments, by all means, you know, throw them in the comments section. You know, would love to hear your thoughts on Optimus Voyager toys. Yeah, if you could, you know, hit like, hit subscribe, all that stuff would be awesome. I really appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll hopefully get back with you with another video soon. Thanks very much. Have an awesome day.